What if I told you that history's most feared king was literally rotting alive while he ruled an empire? But this isn't just another story about Henry VIII's 6 wives. What I'm about to reveal is so disgusting, so absolutely horrifying, historians have been too squeamish to tell the whole truth. You're about to discover why Henry's own servants drew straws just to avoid getting near him. Picture the most powerful man in England, a king who could execute you with a single word, and now imagine him so grotesquely obese that chunks of his rotting flesh would literally fall off his body as he walked. Henry VIII weighed nearly 400 pounds with a 54-inch waist, but here's what will make your stomach turn. His legs were covered in festering wounds that never stopped oozing pus. The stench was so overwhelming that people could smell him from several rooms away. But you want to know the truly twisted part? This walking nightmare was caused by a single moment that changed everything. In 1536, Henry suffered a catastrophic brain injury during a jousting accident that left him unconscious for 2 hours, practically dead by medieval standards. This trauma transformed him from a relatively normal young king into the paranoid monster of legend. The injury likely triggered Cushing's syndrome, explaining his explosive weight gain and those horrific leg ulcers that would never heal. By his final years, the man who claimed divine right to rule couldn't even control his own bowel movements. Servants actually drew straws to see who would have to dress him, because getting close to those rotting wounds was considered punishment. Now, if you think that's disturbing, wait until you hear what he did to his wives. This wasn't just execution. This was psychological warfare that would impress modern psychopaths. Before Anne Boleyn's beheading, Henry forced her to watch 5 innocent men, including her own brother, get brutally murdered for allegedly sleeping with her. She had to stand there knowing she was next, watching people die because of her husband's twisted delusions. But Anne got off easy compared to Catherine Howard. When Henry discovered this teenage bride's past relationships, his revenge was absolutely diabolical. He didn't just kill her. He passed a brand new law making it treason for anyone to marry the king without revealing their complete sexual history. Then came the mind games. Henry would shower his wives with gifts one morning, then issue death threats by evening, creating a constant state of terror where they never knew if they'd see another sunrise. And here's where Henry's madness reached truly insane levels. His paranoia turned the entire kingdom into a surveillance nightmare that would make modern dictators jealous. He slept with loaded crossbows and daggers, had armed guards watching him sleep, and created a network of spies whose job was to spy on his other spies. People were executed not for crimes they committed, but for crimes Henry dreamed they might commit in the future. Even his eating became a weapon of self-destruction. Henry consumed 5,000 calories daily, enough to feed an entire family, while barely able to walk. But here's the insane part. He genuinely believed food had magical powers. He'd gorge on swan meat thinking it would make him graceful, devour oysters believing they'd improve his bedroom performance, and every single bite had to be tested by servants who waited 30 minutes to make sure they didn't drop dead from poison. But nothing, and I mean nothing, could prepare England for what happened when this monster finally died. In his final weeks, Henry was so massively swollen that servants needed specially designed chairs with pulleys just to move him. As they carried him around the palace, pieces of rotting royal flesh would literally drop off his body, and servants had to follow behind with buckets, cleaning up chunks of their decomposing king from marble floors. When Henry finally died, the smell was so unbearable that even experienced medieval doctors fled the room to vomit. They wrapped his grotesquely bloated corpse in lead sheets and sealed it in multiple reinforced coffins, thinking that would contain the nightmare. They were catastrophically wrong. During the funeral procession from London to Windsor Castle, the unthinkable happened. The pressure from decomposition gases building inside Henry's body became so intense that his coffin literally exploded. Royal remains splattered everywhere, creating such a horrific stench that the entire funeral procession had to stop, while servants frantically cleaned up the mess with rags and buckets. Dogs were seen on the roadside licking up pieces of England's former king that had leaked from his birth first coffin onto the highway. Even his burial became a disaster. They had to dig the grave extra wide, but the ground kept collapsing because the soil couldn't support all that lead and rotting flesh. For years afterward, people reported strange noises and terrible smells coming from Henry's tomb. Several servants who handled his exploded corpse died within weeks, possibly from infections caught from their rotting king. So there you have it. Henry VIII, a man so committed to causing chaos that even his corpse managed to terrorize people from beyond the grave. The king who claimed divine right to rule ended up as dog food scattered across an English highway. But Henry's story is just the beginning. History is filled with horrifying secrets, twisted rulers, and shocking mysteries that textbooks don't dare tell you about. If you thought this was disturbing, wait until you discover what other historical nightmares I'm uncovering next. Make sure to stay connected, because I'm digging up more dark history mysteries that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the past. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.